Hello class, today I'll be doing a lecture on intelligence. So, what exactly is intelligence? Intelligence has been a controversial topic throughout psychology's history. There is still considerable disagreement about what components make up intelligence. In addition to questions of what exactly defines intelligence, the debate still continues on whether accurate measurements for intelligence is even possible. At various points throughout history, researchers have proposed different definitions of intelligence. While these definitions may vary depending on the theorist, many individuals tend to suggest intelligence is the ability to learn from experience, recognize problems, and solve problems. So, what exactly are these components? Learn from experience is the acquisition, retention, and use of intelligence. And this is an important component of intelligence. Next one is recognize problems. This is to put knowledge to use. Individuals must be able to identify possible problems in the environment that needs to be addressed. Lastly, we have solve problems. Individuals must then be able to take what they have learned to come up with a useful solution to a problem they have noticed in the world around them. So, going back to a previous point mentioned, why is intelligence controversial? What is the controversy behind this concept or this topic? Well, intelligence tests and psychological definitions of intelligence have been heavily criticized since the 1970s for being biased in favor of Anglo-American middle-class respondents and for being inadequate tools for measuring non-academic types of intelligence or talent. Intelligence changes with experience, and intelligence quotients, aka IQ scores, do not reflect this ability to change. What is considered smart varies culturally as well, and most intelligence tests do not take this variation into account. For example, in the West, being smart is associated with being quick. A person who answers a question the fastest is seen as the smartest. But in some cultures, being smart is associated with considering an idea thoroughly before giving an answer. A well thought out contemplative answer is the best answer, depending on the culture. While psychologists often disagree about the definition and causes of intelligence, research on intelligence plays a significant role in many areas. These areas include decisions regarding how much funding should be given to educational programs, the use of testing to screen job applicants, and the use of testing to identify children who need additional academic help. So going back to a previous point mentioned in the last slide, how does intelligence play a role in education? Children's academic performance is often measured with the use of standardized tests. Achievement tests are used to measure what a child has already learned. Achievement tests are often used as measures of teaching effectiveness within a school setting and as a method to make sure schools that receive tax dollars, such as public schools, charter schools, and private schools that receive vouchers, are accountable for their performance. Aptitude tests are designed to measure a student's ability to learn or to determine if a person has potential in a particular program. These are often used at the beginning of a course or as part of an entrance requirement for colleges. The SAT and PSAT are perhaps the most familiar aptitude tests to students in grade 6 and above. Learning test-taking skills and preparing for the SAT has become part of the training that some students receive as preparation for college. Other aptitude tests include the MCAT, the LSAT, and the GRE. Now this point is important. Intelligence tests are a form of aptitude test since they are designed to measure a person's ability to learn. So, who was a big contributor to intelligence? Alfred Binet was born on July 8, 1857 in Nice, France. Alfred Binet is best remembered for developing the first widely used intelligence test. Binet was asked by the French government to develop a test to identify students that needed or required special academic help in school. Binet and Theodore Simon developed a series of tests designed to assess mental abilities. Rather than focus on learned information such as math and reading, Binet concentrated on other mental abilities such as attention and memory. The scale they developed became known as the Binet-Simon Intelligence Scale. The scale was later revised by psychologist Lewis Terman and became known as the Stanford-Binet scale. This scale is still utilized today and remains one of the most widely used intelligence tests. While Binet's original intent was to utilize the scale as a way to identify children with special academic needs, the assessment soon became a way to identify those deemed feeble-minded by the eugenics movement. This shift in how the scale was utilized is notable, since Binet believed the intelligence test he designed had limitations. Binet believed intelligence was complex and could not be fully captured by a single quantitative measure. He also believed intelligence was not fixed. Binet also felt such measures of intelligence were not always generalizable and could only be applicable to children with similar backgrounds and experiences. So, moving on to the different theories of intelligence, general intelligence, or the G factor, can be defined as a construct made up of different cognitive abilities. These abilities allow individuals to obtain knowledge and to solve problems. Psychologist Charles Spearman helped develop a statistical technique known as factor analysis, which allows researchers to use a number of different test items to measure common abilities. For example, researchers might find that individuals who score well on questions measuring vocabulary also perform well on questions related to reading comprehension. There are several key components of general intelligence. These include fluid reasoning. This involves the ability to think flexibly and to solve problems. Then there's knowledge. This is an individual's general understanding of a wide range of topics and can be equated with crystallized intelligence. Next, we have quantitative reasoning. This involves an individual's capacity to solve problems that involve numbers. After that, there is visual spatial processing. This relates to an individual's ability to interpret and manipulate visual information, such as putting together puzzles and copying complex shapes. Lastly, there is working memory. This involves the use of short-term memory, such as being able to repeat a list of items. Many modern intelligence tests measure some of the cognitive factors that make up general intelligence. Such assessments propose intelligence can be measured and expressed by a single number, such as an IQ score. The Stanford-Binet scale, which is one of the most popular intelligence tests, aims to measure the G factor. In addition to providing an overall score, the current version of the test also offers a number of score composites as well as subtest scores in 10 different areas. Moving on to the next theory, psychologist Lewis L. Thurstone offered a different theory of intelligence. Instead of viewing intelligence as a single, general ability, Thurstone's theory focused on 7 primary mental abilities. The first one is associative memory. This is the ability to memorize and recall information. Next, we have numerical ability. This is the ability to solve arithmetic problems. After that, we have perceptual speed, the ability to see differences and similarities among objects. After that is reasoning, the ability to find rules. After that is spatial visualization, the ability to visualize relationships. Next, we have verbal comprehension, the ability to define and understand words. And lastly, word fluency, the ability to produce words rapidly. We're moving on to the next theory. One of the most recent ideas to emerge is Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligence. Gardner proposed that the traditional idea of intelligence based on IQ testing does not fully and accurately depict an individual's abilities. His theory proposed 8 different intelligence based on skills and abilities valued by different cultures. So these are some of them. Bodily kinesthetic intelligence, the ability to control your body movements and to handle objects skillfully. Interpersonal intelligence, the capacity to detect and respond appropriately to the moods, motivations, and desires of others. Intrapersonal intelligence, the capacity to be self-aware and in tune with inner feelings, values, beliefs, and thinking processes. Logical mathematical intelligence, the ability to think conceptually and abstractly and the capacity to discern logically or numerical patterns. The next 4 are musical intelligence, the ability to produce and appreciate rhythm, pitch, and temperament. After that is naturalistic intelligence, the ability to recognize and categorize animals, plants, and other objects in nature. Verbal linguistic intelligence, well-developed verbal skills and sensitivity to the sounds, meanings, and rhythms of words. And lastly, visual spatial intelligence, the capacity to think in images and pictures and to visualize accurately and abstractly. Moving on to the next theory, psychologist Robert Sternberg defined intelligence as mental activity directed toward purposive adaptation to selection and shaping of real-world environments relevant to one's life. While he agreed with Gardner that intelligence is much broader than a single general ability, he suggested some of Gardner's types of intelligence are better viewed as individual talents. Sternberg proposed what he referred to as successful intelligence, which involves 3 different factors. Analytical intelligence, your ability to evaluate information and solve problems. Creative intelligence, your ability to come up with new ideas. Practical intelligence, your ability to adapt to a changing environment. So, final words. While there has been considerable debate over the exact nature of intelligence, no definitive conceptualization has emerged. Today, psychologists often consider many theoretical viewpoints when discussing intelligence and acknowledge the ongoing debate. These are my references, and that is the end of this lecture. Thank you for watching and listening.